Hi everyone, welcome to part 6 of vendor risk management video series. In this video, we will talk about roles and we'll talk about core configuration. So we'll quickly touch upon VRM a little bit more and then we'll move to the next topics. So VRM is a scoped application. The application name is SNVDR risk ASMT. We have seen that already. And some do's and don'ts. So do not customize base script includes. And if you have to access what is installed as part of the plugin, you go to sys metadata table, and then if the script include name has base, do not modify it. For example, if you see the script includes here, so fourth party management base, risk rating, bottom up calculator base, all these. So these generally you don't want to customize because they are the base, uh, yeah, base version of this code. So that's the best practice. And then coming to roles, we have internal roles, which is SNC underscore internal, external roles, which is SNC underscore external. We discussed that primary contact will get this automatically whenever uh, yeah, they're made as vendor contacts. And then we have vendor risk manager who will configure all this uh, VRM application. And then assessor will do bulk of the work. And then reviewer will review the responses provided. So these are the role names: SNVDR risk ASMT dot vendor underscore risk underscore manager, SNVDR risk ASMT dot vendor underscore assessor, SN underscore VDR underscore risk underscore ASMT dot vendor underscore assessment underscore reviewer. So there are three roles: uh, risk manager, assessor, and assessment reviewer. And when you activate vendor risk application, SNC underscore internal gets assigned to all the internal users, because that's how you identify a user as internal user, so that the contacts can be given essentially external user. And next is core configuration. So vendor portfolio is key for VRM. So portfolio is nothing but the list of vendors. So the table name is core underscore company. There is a view called vendor risk view, which is available both at form and list levels. And there's a checkbox called vendor. We have seen that already in the previous demos. And out of the box, core company has uh, a set of fields, but they may not be sufficient to meet VRM requirements. So additional fields may require to be added, like for example, VAT registration, supplier ID, taxpayer ID, account payable ID, sponsoring department, date of first contract, geo service area, date company established, reason for using vendor, and so on. So these are some of them, but maybe there may be some additional fields also that may be required as part of implementation. We'll look at the form one more time, the vendor form. So we go to all vendors and look for one. Open this. We can see that it has all these fields. We'll do a once it completes loading, we'll do a show XML. So you can see this is the list of fields which are available. Now we'll go to configure table to see what gets added as part of VRM application. So here, if you see, I'll add application. So here, if you see, we can see that these are all global, which means this came out of the box. Uh, and then these are added as part of this application. So show matching, and we can see that following columns are added to company table. For example, like overridden on, override risk rating, scoring difference, so on and so forth, right? All of them. We'll also do a group by on this to see if any other columns are there. Still sort, filter out global to see if any other columns are added. For example, as part of GRC profiles, when a tier is added, and so on and so forth. So basically, uh, yeah. So, so these three applications have added these custom columns on the or these new columns on the company table. So next is how do we load data? It can be through integration, it can be file based, or it can be manual. So depending on the volume of data, the type of data, the source of data will do this. Next comes clean data. So how do we keep the data as clean? So field normalization rules, which is a no-code method, data import or data source transformation, a low-code method, and fix scripts is a pro-code method. So three methods: no-code, low-code, and pro-code. So yeah. So basically, data source transform means when you're actually trying to bring data into ServiceNow, you write a transformation logic. That is basically the data source transform. And then fix scripts is where you actually write fix scripts to uh, normalize the data. That is your fix script method. And then field normalization rules is a no-code method. Now to use field normalization, we have to add this plugin or install the plugin. So we'll go ahead and install it. While that is loading, we will cover other topics. So we have already seen vendor overview dashboard page where we have seen vendor summary and all this information. So I'll move on. But we'll quickly talk about vendor hierarchy. So in vendor hierarchy, we have subsidiaries, uh, and then you have parent-child relationship feature, uh, and uh, so as part of this feature, we can engage with different subsidiaries of a particular vendor and need to tier and assess subsidiary, and also roll-up of risk ratings, full visibility as to how a vendor company is performing across its many branches. So you'll have the roll-up of risk capability and so on. And assigning products or services with engagements, so that is available. Next is vendor engagements. You have contacts, remediation, business services, steering assessments, and issues and tasks. So we have seen this already. Again, same with vendor hierarchy, including engagements. You have child vendor records also visible as part of hierarchy. Again, coming to custom fields, supplier ID, taxpayer ID, and VAT registration number. Uh, so we saw that already. And next is field normalization. You have to change the scope to global, so you can see core underscore company available in the import sets and transfer maps. Uh, Next comes vendor contact, uh, and these are all the capabilities. So primary contact can view all assessments and create other vendor contacts. The table name is VM underscore VDR underscore contact. It extends sys user, form view and list view. Uh, the, and then there's a view called vendor risk view. Then you have choice list options, and role list and titles. The new fields will be manager and manager contact info. Populate vendor contacts. Again, how do you populate it? Through integration, through file-based and through manual creation. Uh, so the best practice is you generally set up a primary contact for a vendor, and then the primary contact will add the remaining contacts. And then the vendor contact list, we have seen this groups by on the vendor. So primary versus non-primary contacts. So as you can see here, primary contact will manage team, invite contact, and add this information. Uh, so primary vendor contact versus primary engagement contact. So primary vendor contact, manage team, invite contact, and then you check the checkbox. That's how you add a primary contact. Engagement contacts for engagement. Primary contact can add any contact to an engagement as engagement contact. So again, engagements are part of vendors. So primary contact can manage the contacts for engagement. So think of a use case where, let's say, there are multiple projects done by a vendor. The primary contact of vendor can add members of those projects as a contacts to that engagement. Vendor contact and license. So the application is licensed based on number of vendors that are being licensed. It doesn't matter how many contacts are there for the vendor. So if a vendor that supports many products or services, then engagements are used to manage this. So as I mentioned, if one vendor is providing many products or services, then we use engagements to segregate that information. That's about core configuration and vendor contacts and vendors uh, and roles and so on. So that's the scope of this video. We will continue this video series in next videos. Thank you.